Hello, it's Cliff Smith here from Cliff Smith Guitar Lessons. I've had a few problems with the pedal board I've been using ever since I added this pedal, this MXR Reverb M300. I've tried this with the manufacturer's power supply and it works fine, but when I plug it in with all my other pedals I have a serious problem with noise. So I think this Voodoo Labs pedal power 2 Plus is going to fix my problem. I have been using the GigRig Generator and the GigRig Distributor, which comes with all these little cables and things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it up using the generator as I had it before, try and recreate the noise problem I've had, and then I'll try it with the pedal power and we'll see if that's fixed it or not. So quickly talk you through what I've got. Basic pedals, nothing amazing, nothing special. I've got a BMus Equaliser EQ pedal. I have the MXR digital reverb pedal. I have an old Proco Rat pedal which I've had forever. You can see it's covered in gaffer tape, but it works. It works. I've had a new switch put on it. Apart from that, I've had that since the 90s. I've got a BMus Chromatic Tuner TU2. Again, I've had this for years. It's pretty good. So I have the GigRig Generator. So this is a power supply and it throws out 9 volts. You plug in your AC cable here and it comes out via this. If you want to power several pedals, you can use this thing. It's called a distributor. And it comes with these little cables that you can cut to length, attach, and then you can power lots of different pedals with that. This is what I've been using and it was fine until I added this MXR pedal. That's when all the trouble started. It would be easy to blame the MXR pedal, but because it works with its own power supply, I'm thinking there's nothing wrong with it and it's not compatible with my power supply. And then over here I've just got a couple of basic Planet Waves jack cables that I'm going to use to go obviously into the pedal board and out to my amp. I've got the Voodoo Labs pedal power 2 Plus, which is, I've just bought this. I've actually got another one of these I've been using in another pedal board and it's really good. That's why I decided that this would probably fix it. A few cables, loads of little power cables that come with the Voodoo Labs and the AC cable that comes with the Voodoo Labs. I've got some wire cutters here because I've got some for the distributor. I'm going to take it all apart and start again. So this is the assembly I was using, but there might be a problem in there, so I'm going to dismantle that and start again. So I'm going to need some wire cutters just to trim off the ends of those cables. I've got my own little patch cables here, George L's cables, which I love. But I'm also going to test those, and if there's any problems with those, I'm going to rebuild them or build some new ones. And to test those, I'm going to use my cable tester. This is a Palmer cable tester. It's a very basic thing, but I can check to make sure all of my patch cables and my jack cables are working and there's nothing wrong with them. So that'll rule out any of my cables being a problem. So once I've tested those, if there's a problem, the problem's either going to be the power supply or one or more of the pedals, or the guitar or the amp. But I'll also check the guitar and the amp, and I know they're working, but I'll check them anyway. That's a nice short little patch cable there. We'll test that. Sleeve to sleeve, tip to tip, sleeve to tip. These are all 9 volt pedals, by the way. If you've got other voltages needed for your pedals, then you'll need to think about it slightly differently. I'm just using a lot of 9 volt pedals here, which are the most common ones. But the problem with my Rat is it needs one of these. So it needs a slightly different plug. Normally you'd have this plug here for a 9 volt pedal. But I have this little adapter which you can get in most guitar shops, and if I plug that into my standard 9 volt and then plug that into my pedal, then that's going to work. So looking at this, then I have 5 pedals, 5 power cables coming out of my GigRig distributor, going into each of those. I've got it all wired up for the audio, so all the jack cables are plugged in. The generator is going to give power to the distributor. I need to plug in my AC cable. So I should have power in all my pedals now. So that tuner, yeah, the light's coming on. Wah, light's coming on. Rat, lights coming on, EQ, lights coming on, and the reverb, the lights are always on. So they've all got power. Next step, let's see what it sounds like. Right, so I just turned my amp on, I've got my guitar plugged in. Can you hear that hum? There's a high-pitched noise. This is the problem I was getting before. I'm going to boost my EQ to just turn the volume up so you can hear that. It's very loud, so that's always going to feed back. This is on maximum boost. The amp's on full, so you can hear that sound. This is just totally unacceptable. There's no way I can play a gig with that noise. There's no way I can record anything with that noise. So that's terrible. It's totally useless. So what I need to do is find out what the problem is. So I'm just going to isolate each of these pedals individually using the generator and see what happens. Okay, so here I've got my EQ pedal plugged in, just generator powering one pedal, EQ pedal, straight into my amp. There's the guitar's on. There's not really any more noise than you would expect. I've got my amp turned up full. It's only a small amp, it's 15 watts. It's on maximum on the clean sound. There's a little bit of hiss, which you would expect to hear from an amp on maximum. If I boost it up, there's a little bit more noise. Again, you would expect to hear that when I have an EQ fully boosting up the volume to maximum on an amp that's turned up full. You're going to expect to hear a little bit of hiss, so that's acceptable. Again, now I have the generator just powering my chromatic tuner. The guitar's on. Turn the tuner, it mutes the sound. No problems there. So here I have my rat pedal plugged in. No problems there. If I turn it on, it's going to feed back because it's on maximum the amp. It's really loud. There's no real noise there. I mean, there's the noise you would expect to have with a distortion pedal and an amp on full. But we don't have that high-pitched humming sound that we had before. That's not there. So now I have my wah pedal. Wah volume, this one. Turn the wah on. So again, there's not really any noise there, no more than you expect. I'll turn it off. There's less. So the wah adds a bit of gain, so you would expect more hiss with a wah, and plus it adds some different frequencies. So that's normal for a wah pedal, I can accept that. Okay, so finally I have my MXR reverb, which I thought was the problem. But doesn't appear to be anything wrong with it. If anything, it's quieter than the other pedals. Turn it on. Okay, so far I'm thinking my cables are fine. I know my guitar and amp is fine. I've just plugged the guitar straight into the amp. There's nothing wrong with that. Each pedal individually is fine, but when I combine them using the generator and distributor, there's a problem. So that tells me that the generator and distributor combo can't handle these 5 pedals for whatever reason. I think the reason is that the power supplies are not isolated from each other. Now if we look at the Pedal Power Plus, this one, each of these outputs is isolated from the others, so you don't get any interference in theory. So there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to rig up my pedal board exactly the same as I did with the generator distributor, but I'm just going to use this Voodoo Labs power supply instead, and then we'll see, can I have all those pedals running together without that horrible noise I got earlier on. Okay, so I've got my pedals set up again the way I want them. in the order I like. All my jack cables, patch cables are plugged in. I've tested everything, I know everything works. So I have my Voodoo Labs pedal power here. It comes with loads of cables. Now, one advantage with the GigRig Distributor and Generator is with the generator you can cut the cables to length. With the pedal power you can't, they come at a set length. So you might have a bit of cable management to do afterwards. But when I used my rat with the distributor, I had to use this little adapter to change the standard 9-volt plug into the 9-volt plug that I need for my rat. Now the Voodoo Labs comes with a cable that has a regular 9-volt on one end and the other type on the other end, so I don't need this, which is great. One less thing to go wrong. I hate having extra little things in my system that can break, because it's always the smallest, cheapest thing like this. You know, that's a thing that's cost me £3. It's not amazing quality. It's very hard to get one that's amazing quality, so it's probably not going to last forever. So I'm glad I don't need that. So what I have here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regular 9-volt plugs on this end. On this end I've got some variable ones. So this one can clip onto a battery. So if you have a pedal that doesn't have an input for the 9-volt power, you can actually attach this to the battery clip, which is really good. The red one, I can't remember what it's for, but I know I don't need it, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. This one is really useful. That's going to go in straight from the Voodoo Labs into my rat with no messing around. And then this other bunch, I've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same on each end, just the standard 9-volt connectors. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and plug those in. So because I know I can get different levels of output of power out of these different outputs on the Voodoo Labs, I've just gone online, I just looked on my pedals to see how much power that they actually need. So this one needs 55 milliamps, this one needs 6 milliamps, this one needs 7.8 milliamps, this one needs 7 milliamps, this one needs 240 milliamps. So digital effects generally need a lot more power than analog effects. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to plug these 4 into the outputs 1 to 4 from the pedal power, which each one of these is 100 milliamps each, so that's more than enough for all of these. But I need more power for this. So if I look at outputs 5 and 6, they have more output. They have 250 milliamps each, so if that's 240, 250 milliamps is going to be good for that. So I'm just going to plug that one in first, make sure I don't get it wrong. So straight away, there's a lot more features here. Before I've even plugged anything in, I think I've probably solved a few problems. So let's plug that one, reverb, into number 5. So that's getting 250 milliamps maximum. This only draws 240. You're not going to blow it if you give it too much power, because it'll only draw as much power as it needs. Okay, so that now I know I can't plug that one into the wrong one. That's done. Next one I'm going to do is my rat. So here I have this nice cable that came with the 2 different ends. So I'll plug that into any one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 7 or 8. Go into any of those. That's going to go into my rat. So those are the 2 special pedals out of the way. So this one needs a special plug, this one needs a special number of milliamps. The rest of them are all going to use the same cable, so I'll just plug those in. I'm now going to plug my AC into my Voodoo Labs and just check, do we have power? Yes, the lights come on. Yes, the lights come on. Yes, the lights come on. The lights are already on. I'm going to turn that off. The lights are always on that one. Okay, so that's all done. So I've got my amp on maximum, just like I had with the generator. I'm now going to put my guitar plugged in. I'm now going to put my EQ on to boost that signal, so I can hear as much noise as possible. So now I have that hum sound, very very slight kind of hiss, which you would get normally, I have my amp turned up full, I have my EQ pedal boosted, maximum amount of gain on there. So my amp is really loud, my guitar signal is really loud. I'll just stop talking for a sec, you can hear how little noise I'm getting. Okay, so I'll turn my amp down a bit. There you go, so the tune is working. When I step on it, it cuts out the sound. It's picking up my strings as I want it to. This is a wah volume, so if I turn that down. If I turn this on, I get wah. This is my distortion, so without it, with it. EQ, I'm just going to use as a clean boost. Turn up a bit. Just a bit louder, and then my reverb. Maybe a bit too much, but that'll do. Okay, so I had exactly this set up, but instead of using the Voodoo Labs, I was using the generator and the distributor, and I had a problem. Then I took out the distributor and the generator, I put in the Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2 Plus, and now I have no problem. So I tested everything individually. I made sure all my cables were working correctly. I made sure all my pedals were working correctly individually, and everything was fine. My guitar is fine, my amp is fine. But when I changed them together using this power supply, I had that horrible high-pitched whining sound which was just impossible to deal with. There's no way I could use that in a live or recording situation. So I would safely say for this setup, this isn't very good. I can say though, before I added the MXR reverb, I was using the GigRig Generator for years and it was fine. But as soon as I added this pedal in, it became a problem. Now, you could say the pedal is the problem, but if that was the case, it would still be a problem when it's rigged up to the Voodoo Labs. But I've just tested that with the Voodoo Labs. Everything's working perfectly. So I would say this Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2 Plus is a much better power option than the GigRig Generator distributor combo. There's a bit of a price difference. This is £164. The generator is £97.95, the distributor is £35. So a generator distributor combo is about £30 cheaper than the Pedal Power 2 Plus. Okay, so this is quite messy, so there's no way I would take this to a gig in this state and have to plug everything individually. So what I'm going to do after this, I'll put everything into a pedal tray and pedal board, attach it all, wire it all up properly, and I'm going to make a video of that, so I'll put a link to that in the comments for this video.